So we are in the year, based on my calculations, which they have a lot of different calendars, a lot of different systems. But what I did is went to 0 point where, and because we're going by um, the Gregorian calendar, where it ended in 400, no, 4,713. I added the 99, which is the 0 point, when they did the conversion over to AD. Okay. And added that to the 2021, which we are in 6,833. So this is the year we are in, the 33rd, and the 6833. Now, if I decided to add on based on the other calendars, the heliocentric calendar, the beginning of that calendar, the solar calendars, you get a bunch of different dates. But in reality, these dates were adjusted not just because of um, their spell for the religious aspect of time, but for the spell on the computing systems of time, which they say computer was invented in 1942 or 43. So say so. No, the computer systems and numbers of computing to generate a uh, virtual setting was being done this far back, um, or beginning 2021 years ago. So I'm back with that. Now, let's continue, my little ones. I gotta go back and find the computer system code. Here we are. And continue. So it's very important that you realize that a computer, when it was first made by scientists in 1943 AD, not created, but made, remade, okay? Who were trying to calculate the so-called Einstein calculation of 9 to the power of 9, E equals M2, not M square, not MC square. Whatever calculation that Einstein was doing was more of a creation of a spell around the sphere of Tamare. Okay. So just Google that in EM2. They only made a four digits spaces, and there's that four, the four um, major sects of the Bible, the four hemispheres in the crystal skull that you have. So now all of the computers that were made from this prototype of IBM, and then I'm not going to type in IBM, that's going to be too much for y'all, which was the Superman called HAL IBM. And I don't know if anyone remembers Superman with Richard Pryor, but this is all around the computer and all of the coding spells and decipherness that the uh who was it? Was it the Arab, the Arabic film council or something had something to do with that, the making of that Superman. That's when they transitioned over. So I'm not going to go any more details with that. I'll save that for another day. Um when we are actually watching Superman, me and my granddaughter. Okay. And I'll break it down then. However, it was programmed to go to our recognized year of 2000, which is their recognized year with the AD. It would only go up to 1999 AD or back to 1900 AD. But the computers and the calculators won't recognize the two. Even the updated modern ones with more digit space in them, the banks have people come in and literally write everyone's records down because there's no way out of the Y2K problem. Much confusion is in the forthcoming years. Electronic or electric companies ran by computers which will break down, which will affect the heating system and electricity, your water systems, your home appliances, your bank accounts, your ATMs. It will all be affected. Cars will be going haywire, and mass confusion will start in the millennium. So, based on the knowledge that we don't even know the correct date and time that you are in, what is the millennium? Is the transference, transitioning of the millennium happening right now? Every 60 years, the Dogons of Mali, who say they originally come from Tamaray, hold a Badu rite called the Sigi ceremony. Its purpose is the renovation of the world on their clock of destiny. Back to what I said earlier. What is your clock of destiny? What is your clock of destiny? When it is time for the Sigi or the Hogan elders in the Tanatono shelter of Yugo draw a symbol on the rock with red orchre, which represents a Kanaga mask. This in turn represents the deity Amma. Yes.
The baby.
What about baby?
The baby is in a person's stomach.
And what does that say there? Fetal
Tall
position.
position.
Fetal
Fetal
position.
position.
Fetal
Fetal
position.
position. Position.
Prostration.
Prostration.
Fetal position. Prostration.
Fetal position. Prostration.
And this says re-emerging from the primordial egg.
Re
Emerging.
emerging from the Parian egg.
Primordial egg. The Kanga symbol.
The Kanga symbol.
See that ka? Ka
Yeah.
naga
Yeah.
symbol.
Kanga symbol.
Ka naga
The Kanaga symbol.
symbol. Don't that look like Grammy?
No. Don't look like an alien.
You don't look like me.
No. Why would you say that?
The nom no deity.
The nom deity.
No more.
No more.
No more lies.
No more lies. It looks like an alien.
Mm,
An ugly
ugly. Time travel. in Einstein's universe. Dreaming of time travel. Man can go up against gravitation in a balloon, and why should he not hope that ultimately he may be able to stop or accelerate his drift along the time dimension, or even turn about and travel the other way? H.G. Wells, The Time Machine, 1895. What would you do with a time machine? No idea from science fiction has captured the human imagination as much as time travel. What would you do if you had a time machine? You might go to the future and take a vacation to the 23rd century. You might bring back a cure for cancer. Then again, you might return to the past to rescue a lost loved one. You could kill Hitler and prevent World War II, or book a passage on the Titanic and warn the captain about the iceberg. But what if the captain ignored your warning, as he ignored all of the warnings about the icebergs that he had received, so that the great ship sank after all? In other words, would time travel let you change the past? The notion of time travel to the past can suggest paradoxes. What if, on a trip to the past, you accidentally killed your grandmother before she gave birth to your mother? Even if changing the past is impossible, going there might still be very interesting. Even if you could not change history from the course we know it took, you still could participate in shaping that history. For example, you might go back in time to help the Allies win the Battle of the Bulge in World War II. People love to reenact Civil War battles. What if it were possible to participate in the real thing? Selecting a battle won by your side would give you the thrill of joining in the experience as well as a secure feeling of knowing the outcome. In fact, it might turn out that, in the end, the tide of battle was turned by tourists from the future. Indeed, people who have been far ahead of their time in thinking, such as Jules Verne or Leonardo da Vinci, have sometimes been accused of being time travelers. If you choose to embark on time travel, you could put together a stunning itinerary. You might meet historical figures such as Buddha, Muhammad, or Moses. You could see what Cleopatra really looked like, or attend Shakespeare's first production of Hamlet. You might position yourself on that grassy knoll in Dallas to see for yourself whether Oswald was the lone assassin. You might take in Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and even film it. You could enjoy an evening walk through the hanging gardens of Babylon. The possibilities are unlimited. We seem free to move around in space at will, but in time, we are like helpless rafters in a mighty stream, propelled to the future at a rate of 1 second per second. One wishes one could sometimes paddle ahead to investigate the shores of the future, or perhaps turn around and go against the current to visit the past. The hope that such freedom will one day be ours is bolstered when we observe that many feats formerly thought impossible have now been realized and are even taken for granted. When Wells wrote The Time Machine in 1895, many people thought that heavier than air flying machines were impossible. Eventually, the Wright brothers proved the skeptics wrong. Then people said that we could never break the sound barrier, but Chuck Yeager ultimately proved that the seemingly impossible was possible. Flights to the moon were confined to the realm of fantasy until Apollo program achieved it. Might time travel be similar? Today, the subject of time travel has jumped from the pages of science fiction to the pages of physics journals as physicists explore whether it might be allowed to be physical laws and even if it holds the key to how the universe began. In Isaac Newton's universe, time travel is inconceivable, but in Einstein's universe, it has become a real possibility. Time travel to the future is already known to be permitted, and physicists are investigating time travel to the past as well. To appreciate what scientists are studying now, an excellent first step is to explore major time travel themes in science fiction, where many ideas in this arena were first advanced: the time machine and the time as fourth dimension. The idea of time travel gained prominence through Wells' wonderful novel. Most remarkable is his treatment of time as fourth dimension, which anticipates Einstein's use of the concept 10 years later. The novel begins as a time traveler invites his friends to inspect his new invention, a time machine. He explains the idea to them. You know, of course, that a mathematical line, a line of thickness nil, has no real existence. Neither has a mathematical plane. These things are mere abstractions. That's all, said the psychologist. Nor have only length, breadth, and thickness can a cube have real existence. There I object, said Philby. Of course, a solid body may exist. All real things. But wait a moment. Can an instantaneous cube exist? Don't follow you, said Philby. Can a cube that does not last for any time at all have real existence? Philby became pensive. Clearly, the time traveler proceeded. Any real body must have existence in four directions. It must have length, breadth, thickness, and duration. There are really four dimensions: three of space and a fourth, time. There is, however, a tendency to draw an unreal distinction between former three dimensions and latter because our consciousness moves intermittently along the latter from the beginning to the end of our lives. The time traveler then shows his friend a small model of his invention, a metallic frame with ivory quartz parts. One lever can propel it toward the future, and another reverse the direction. He helps one of his friends push the future lever, and the model promptly disappears. Where did it go? It didn't move in space at all. It simply went to another time, the time traveler explains. His friends can't decide whether to believe him. Next, the time traveler takes his friends to his home laboratory to see his nearly complete full scale model. A week later, he finishes the time machine, climbs aboard, and begins a remarkable journey to the future. First, he presses the future lever gently forward, then presses the one for stopping. He looks at his lab. Everything is the same. Then he notices the clock. A moment before, as it seemed, it had stood at a minute or so past 10. Now it was nearly half past 3. He pushes the lever ahead again and can see his housekeeper flit across the room at a high speed. Then he pushes the lever far forward. The night came like a turning out of a light, and in another moment came tomorrow. As I put on a pace, night followed day like the flapping of a black wing. Presently, as I went on, still gaining velocity, the palpitation of night and day merged into one continuous grayness. I saw huge buildings rise up, faint and fair, and pass like dreams. Eventually, the time traveler brings his vehicle to a stop. The machine's dials show that he has arrived in the year 802,701. What does he find? The human race has split into two species, one brutish and mean, living below ground, the Morlocks, and the other childlike and gentle, living above ground, the Eloi. Among the above ground dwellers, finds a lovely young woman named Weena, whom he befriends. He discovers to his horror that the troglodytes living below breed and harvest gentle people like cattle to eat. To make matters worse, the Morlocks manage to steal his time machine. When he finds it, he jumps aboard, and to escape the Morlocks, he pushes the lever into the extreme forward position. By the time he is able to bring the machine under control, he has moved into a far future. Mammals have become extinct, and only some crab-like creatures and butterflies remain on Earth. He explores as far as 300 million years into the future, where he discovers a dull red sun and a lichen like vegetation. The only animal life in evidence is a football shaped creature with tentacles. The time traveler then returns to his own time and to his friends. As proof of his experience in the future, he produces a couple of flowers Weena had given him, of a type unknown to his friends. After talking to his friends, the time traveler departs on his time machine and never returns. One friend muses about his fate. Where did he go? Did he return to the future or go instead to some prehistoric realm? H.G. Wells' book was extraordinarily prescient in interpreting time as the fourth dimension. Einstein would use the idea in his 1905 theory of special relativity, which describes how time is measured differently by stationary and moving observers. Einstein's work, expanded by his mathematics professor Hermann Minkowski, shows that time can indeed be treated mathematically as a fourth dimension. Our universe four is thus four-dimensional. By comparison, we say that the surface of the Earth is two-dimensional because every point on Earth's surface can be specified by two coordinates, longitude and latitude. The universe, however, is four-dimensional. Locating an event in the universe requires four coordinates. This example, adapted from Russian physicist George Gamow, further illustrates the point. If I want to invite you to a party, I must give you four coordinates. I may say the party will be at 43rd Street and 3rd Avenue on the 51st floor next New Year's Eve. The first three coordinates, 43rd Street, 3rd Avenue, 51st floor, locate its position in space. Then I must tell you the time. The first two coordinates tell you where to go on the surface of Earth, and the third tells you how high to go, and the fourth tells you when to arrive. Four coordinates, four dimensions. We may visualize our four-dimensional universe by using a three-dimensional model. Figure 1 shows such a model of the solar system. The two horizontal dimensions represent two dimensions of space. For simplicity, the third dimension of space is left out. And the vertical dimension represents the dimension of time. Up is toward the future, down is toward the past. The first time I saw a model like this was in George Gamow's delightful book, One, Two, Three, Infinity, which I read when I was about 12 years old. It changes one's perspective. Typically, textbooks present a two-dimensional diagram of the solar system. The sun is shown as a circular disk and the earth as a smaller disk near it. Earth's orbit is presented as a dashed circle on a flat page. This two-dimensional model captures only one instant of time. But suppose we had a movie of the solar system showing how the earth orbits the sun. Each frame of the movie would be a two-dimensional picture of a solar system, a snapshot at a particular time. By cutting the film into individual frames, stacking these on top of one another, you could get a clear picture of space and time. The ascending frames show latter and later events. The time of an individual frame is given by its vertical position in the stack. The sun appears in the center of each frame as a yellow disk that does not move. Thus, within the stack, the sun becomes a vertical yellow rod, extending from the bottom of the stack to the top, showing the sun's progression from the past to the future. In each frame, Earth is a small blue dot, and in each ascending frame, It is a farther along on its orbit. So in the stack, Earth becomes a blue helix winding around a yellow rod on the center. The radius of the helix is equal to the radius of Earth's orbit, 93 million miles, or as we astronomers like to say, 8 light minutes, because it takes light traveling at 186,000 miles per second about 8 minutes across that distance. The distance of in time for a helix to complete its turn, of course, is 1 year. The helix is Earth's world line, its path through space time. If we were to think four dimensionally, we would see that Earth is not just a sphere, it is really a helix, a long piece of spaghetti spiraling through the sun's world line through time. As the time traveler said, all real objects have four dimensions: width, breadth, height, and duration. Real objects have an extension in time. Your dimensions are perhaps 6 feet tall, 1 foot thick, 2 feet wide, and 80 years in duration. You have a world line too. Your world line starts with your birth, snakes through space and forwards in time, threading through all the events of your life, and ends at your death. A time traveler who visits the past is just someone whose world line somehow loops back in time, where it could even intersect itself. This would allow the time traveler to shake hands with himself. The older man could meet up with his younger self and say, "Hi, I'm your future self. I've traveled back in time to say hello." The surprised younger man could reply, "Really?" He would then continue his life, becoming old and eventually looping back to that same event, where he would recognize his younger self, shake hands, and say, "Hi, I'm your future self. I've traveled back in time to say hello."
And then he said, no, this was an aborted idea. Remember that? They knew that in prophecy. We didn't realize that the generation we were raising would be classified, or like I would say out of my mouth, first fruit is faithful but not true. The first fruit is faithful but not true. Talking, now realizing talking about the children, that the first fruit is faithful but not true. So the children who were the first generation of kids born to us, they'll say faithful. Some of them are still staunch orthodox wisdom, but they're not true enough to follow us on the path, right, of right now. So the elders they were talking to were the elite or the Gigi speaking down to the Anunnaki, saying, you know who they are. They're the ones who have went through great tribulation and have washed themselves clean in the blood of the Lamb, which is symbolic of those people who were dirty. Because remember, you are from the seed of the disagreeable. Now, years ago, I explained to y'all about these reds. Right? I told y'all you all have reds, and that tells you in red gills if you want to drink the water. That means that you're somewhere on the line, whether it's through breeding or cloning, there is the sea people inside of you. And the sea people are the Dragons, the Vulcans, and their other the name of their planet, right, was Maldiv, which is spelled Maldiv. That's the planet that Nigeria and ship bumps into on its normal route, on its original orbit. You got a original orbit of 25,920 years. They make a standard route. It's a large ship. It had 144,000 passengers, headed by 24 elders, right? Without searching the galaxy for other resources for their planet. They came out of alien for a planet called Lilith, right? Which is Lilith is the eighth planet having two moons, right? in a galaxy that has 19 planets, right? And they are called the 6B that launched off, we call it mothership. It was tremendous, as big as the planet Earth in diameter. You follow that? And it was on its way out searching for more planets and life exploring. But in the universe, we say the planet. And that route that it was taken at that time was a very normal route where it was counterclockwise to the planets that was in this solar system at the time. They never intended to crash into it. They didn't have a problem until it passed by Neptune, right? And Neptune slowed because of electric storms on it, right? And of course, it was there towards Neptune. When the planet pulled away from Neptune, it bumped into the planet, melded with what they call Vulcan, right? Where these sea creatures live. Okay? And both are positive. The planet itself launched off 4 fighter ships, right? Sometimes described as 4 pieces of the planet's satellites at Nibiru. All that, meanwhile, the planet Vulcan or melded went off further into outer space and became known as the lost planet. The beings on Dragon, that name lived underwater. It's called a serpent people. You follow that? They stood around 4 feet tall, had bill, had web hand, good feet. You follow that? They had very, very advanced societies under the water. On the planet. All right. These 4 ships launched at Nibiru with the intention of destroying them. However, Nibiru had 4 spheres built within this mothership. And caught this planet in their force and locked it, having a revolving, right, on an axis. And they refer to it as the north, east, south, and west winds. All right? And then when Nibiru went on in its orbit, but it was wobbling now because of crash in a Vulcan or nervous force damage. It would launch off 3 ships to go back to Ilium and back to their planet to let them know that they could have danger. So they would launch out other crash detectors. Within their fleet at this time, there were altogether 7 ships, and with the 3 going back, that would be 10. Follow that? These 7 ships broke up into 3 parts, 3 and 4 each. Remember, you had 4 that was picked up in the Vulcan. And as the planet launched further into its path, it passed by Saturn. See that? And as it was moving, Saturn's planet Titan, it bumped into, or as they say in ancient times, into Sumu or Shimu, or anything where the spell is Shimu, right? It's called Ta-Neta in ancient Egypt, right? Same place. And that Shimu is the way that they say Sumu, or Shina, and that when you Shina with flat planes. Remember that. All right? So, as it passed on by Saturn, it kissed off of Saturn, you follow? Or bumped into Titan, they have it, and then it's in a wobbly course. Okay? As it reached into the area near Cana, which is the name that Earth is called, because it has to do with sea, and sea creatures, and this is a water planet, always known as the water planet. It has the most water, and the following is Neptune. It had a lot of water, that was told. Right? This is Earth before it was Earth. It was like 2.5 to 3 times the size that it is today that you have now. Earth at 10,126 diameter, 24,896 circumference. Right? It wasn't that. It had that on twice, and then had a diameter of the moon. Right? And you have your size of the planet. So, these beings launched on into, space again, wobbling, These were the supreme beings on the ship, or you call them Elohim in scripture, or Anunnaki. This is taking place 25 billion years ago. Better yet, it appears before something, maybe 24 billion years ago. So you know how long ago this was before the normal Homo sapiens came into existence as human. Right? It passed on through and a whole star war took place in the coming in the atmosphere, right? Where the planet Tamak is having problems because there are two larger planets and two smaller planets on both sides of it. Because the atmosphere is always wobbling. It's uncertain that it's full of two smaller planets from the sun, right? Which is Mercury and Venus. Then Mars and Jupiter, too large on the outside, of course, in balance. So when you deal with a big flash, also refers to as a planet in its atmosphere. Since then, the attack launched from Tamak 11 flash warship was attacked Nigeria. All right? And remember, Nigeria had picked up the track 4 melded class or Vulcan class. And it was spinning right in its atmosphere as it went past items, as it's moving, these ships dead smash into Tamak and cause Tamak to break in half first. Another part of Tamak, which is called the upper and lower part, the lower part of Tamak, right, became what you call astral, and is moving in counterclockwise, to your solar systematic motion, and it started to fold and bend. All right, the 11th class is immediately picked up by Nigeria and Women. They didn't have no effect whatsoever on their attempt. But the following class, as that one class from Vulcan smashed into Tamak, crashed in half, followed by another one that crashed into the whole space field. And as that planet is going to go out of orbit, we have a fear of what's called a star helicis. If that planet is pulled out of orbit, all the other planets will be caught up in the power of the pull of the sun and be blown towards it, which is called the planet, the sun, way back then, and be blown up and destroyed. And the beings that crashed into it, these supreme beings, were responsible, and we were responsible for this crash. Without that, there must be something about it. So from the Nigeria, when I said three went back to a group in June, he had 4 of them locked on to the planet Tamak, creating, as I told you before, what's called a tetrahedron planet with one crack. This locked in on the planet, that hole is going through it, had total control of it, and energy from each one of these 4 cracks. See? And you're doing you see it, locked it and gave Earth atmosphere, bent it into its shape. It's more like oval than a circle. The hole is penetrating in the center. Understand? The 11th class launch made the Vulcans, who were a part of the atmosphere, the last ship of it, the 11th class, the last ship, assuming that they were being attacked by Tamak on behalf of Nigeria, not knowing that this is another, immediately shot out a bolt of energy towards Tamak. This was condensed and trapped by the class of Nigeria and turned into what you know as ball lightning, what that's in the world, right? A large ball of energy, right? And sent and trapped right in the center, into the belly of Tamak, and making lighting, into human lighting. And there they set a 600-mile sun. Follow that and screened it so that its light would go off out of the hole in the northern region and create what you refer to as colonial, the auroras or the sun flares that they see. That is the heat, so the heat is not centered in there, but it burns out of front. Inside, and the water that was in the center started seeping through, thus creating a very tropical environment, which became known as Shambhala, out of the time, various names are picked up long time for this world center. So now this new planet, it has a diameter of 7,926 miles and 24,000, cut the diameter in half, right? And we turn out the radius. The radius tells you where that sun sits. The sun was not trapped in that atmosphere set. And L was responsible for this. The father was guilty, right, for the crash and made this their pet project. The four crash were now called in Revelation, four angels, four winds to hold the planet in control, he said. To set off there to keep this planet from exploding. And I've been there from generation to generation, all the way back to the Revelation, trying to keep it. Then they had a fear that the opening and sense of earth with its own sun. Of course, they like I said, called it opposite one time, right? In other words, for the sea shine out, right? We come in contact with the outer sun, and that would cause overheat, so they put another sister city, a large craft or sister city above the planet, right on the outside of your sphere, to protect it so when it holds it in that direction, like this material ship is over, like we speak about in Revelation, in the 21st chapter. It's over, and because the crystal shot reflects the light away from the planet, and then it close to the planet off its axis, and the straight axis to a 22-degree axis, something called the right. While there's more right-handed people on the planet Earth than what they should be, which is ambidextrous, until you should have been ambidextrous, right? And the reflection on the planet Earth, where because of that, people look different on one side than the other. You think when you're looking at yourself that you look the same. And if you took a picture of one side of your face and took a picture of the other side of your face, you'll see that because the left side of your body is weaker and less developed, the whole side of your face is. They say, well, your left foot is a little smaller, your left eye might be a little more closed. That is because that is obviously scientific error. For those who believe in God or Allah or Elohim or Adonai or Yahweh, or whatever you use, to believe that he made mistakes and made one side of your body larger than the other, one side of your body more agile or more, capable than the other, is to say that he made mistakes. So the mistake came in when the planet was still on this axis. You can see that planet now on a 22-degree axis, right? You watch most people when they stop human beings and they stop to lean and put all their weight on their right foot as opposed to left. Very rarely. So you do have to have the other left-handed because they're bred that way. Of course, humans were ambidextrous, but numbers 75 out of 100 people on the planet Earth are indeed right-handed. As a result of this, that was done to keep the planet because of wobble. Earth does wobble. Then when the planet was set in this atmosphere, remember that last crash that I mentioned from the Vulcan sea creatures, right? It crashed down on the planet Earth. Remember, the village went on to a new orbit. This new orbit became 3,600 miles. This made it 1 year for them. All right, besides themselves. So that last crashed down on the planet Earth, and they did live and went into the water. And thus, you get your story of your evolutionary man coming out of the water, being half built, and you are linked into that descendancy. And they were disagreeable people from that planet. So you have more disagreeable people walking the planet. That's why you hold your hand up like this here in front of you and turn it around, you will see you have webs at the bottom of your finger. Right? If you realize that when you were in the womb of your mother, you was a tadpole, a fish, and you did have a tail, so at the end of your spinal column, there is a flat bone. Whether you want to attribute to the toxins of the Europeans who have wider tendons because they're on a lesser evolutionary scale than you are, and therefore they turn longer, your spinal column does curve to show that you once had a tail that came down and you were once a sea creature because you could live underwater. And that's what they portray that movie abyss. And abyss is another way of saying absolute, which is a whole safety something called hell. The Christians, the Muslims, and the so-called Jews say in hell there is a place beneath you where people burn, according to the sun there. And then, if the screen was started to move, people would burn. The reflection of the light from the sun out was curved. Of course, people down there would suffer and burn. But the ancient men who knew about the so-called religious men taught about it and called it hell. When you say the word hell, H-E-L-L, what you got to put O on it, and you get a sun, O hell. But Ohel in the ancient Syriac and Aramic, which is, let's say, the Hebrew language, means tabernacle or tent, Ohel. And that was considered a tabernacle down there where Shinti was, S-I-M, Shinti, T-I, Shinti, which is the laboratory where a lot of scientific experiments are taking place that were affected by what was taking place on the planet Earth. And so once this was set up, and that was put in place, and all this responsibility and the health things like that down in here and living in the waters, we're talking about evolutionary time over millions of years and changing the command ships. With all that, and life was started on planet Earth, a new form of life, because life that was here was burnt up by the crashes. It goes into the earthquake, of course, it was it cut up the planet in half, and all the life form is dead. It was later on that, I think it's about 11 billion years ago, right, that the moon, which was an independent planet, broke off from it, got its name Kingu, because the head of the feet that launched out, which is 11 feet from the planet, K-Mat was called Kingu, right? And their moon became known as Kingu or Kishki. It appeared barren wasteland present day and visited there by NASA. This day began to realize that life visited there one. Only things are going to come out that our ancient descendants, the Sumu people or Sumu people, like I said, even known as Kai Netness, right, knew all of these facts. Now the present day scientists and astronomers and astrologists and solar biologists and all the different biologists that want to learn are beginning to realize. So when they say if this planet Payback picked up the name T-K-I back then, and if that K when the Greeks got it changed into a G, and that I pronunciation became Geo, right? That's where they get geology, geometry, geometrics, etc., etc. All that applied to that ancient Sumu word key, our ancient descendants, which I said before was tied into the Egyptians. The Egyptians got it from the ancient Sumu people when when the sons of Ham's son after the flood moved over into Egypt and brought over the culture that was once over on this side. That's why you find over amongst the Sumer people, they have state too. They have bull man, they have bull. They have the needles, that's the needle. The temples constructed the same way architects constructed it. They bake stones and color their temples in the ancient Babylon, which is where that place was at the time. Right? And you can see the temple was constructed the same way, tournament-like fashion. So the knowledge was really greater in Sumer and older, and then went over into Egypt has the same people. Again, Egypt became a mountain province for Africa. So there's very different degrees of people. And now the Negroes go back so long ago, and this is way before prophecies of earth people. Sisters and prophecies came millions of years down the line. So no doubt there's a question about who are these people. They were talking about the fact that they long for the day that the elders will collect their people off this planet. Because remember, 1,000 years ago is when they actually started playing the breeding of a being called Adam. And they called him Adam because Adam, from the original language, Adama, meant earthling or of the ground, of the red soil, etc., 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 right, to be workers for them. But they had been coming here for a long time. They called themselves the Munakis. Those who took Saturn as their home planet because Saturn had a necklace around it, became known as the Anakis. Those of the neck. And now we're going to do the disagreeable side of the planet. Each one took a planet as their symbol. That's why in ancient Sumer writing, you'll find all of the earthly planets actually the names of people they call or refer to as their gods or descendants. Inky, or Ur, and etc., etc., etc. Any questions? How big was it? It was bigger than the planet. It was as big as the planet Earth is now. It itself, the zero never bumped in. It came out. It was the four satellites and no ship that was tremendous. They bumped in repeatedly, one, and then the other put a hole straight through it. And the other, the other one crashed down on it. And it's exactly the they were completed something came back down and finished the winner. Good game. You come out very time between each time to hit and find Einstein was going through some changes and trying to revive it. So by the time they came back in 2,200 years, a little change. And that was the formation in the world. What made what? What made those satellites crash? They were caught, as I said earlier, those satellite crashes and Vulcan were caught by Nibiru. Nibiru's ship had 4 units that had magnetic power working off that I told you, except that he's been science like he knew flying the gun. And once it got caught in it, it started turning like a whirlwind, right? And those ships are moving, we say magnetic energy, which helped to create the force field around Nibiru, which is the chapter, I think. Nibiru was navigating itself broadly after bumping into Meldic or Vulcan, and then was being drawn into the solar system. When it kicks off exactly, it spins off again and steering in, it never hit. Nibiru never really hit. It was the satellite that picked up, so it can navigate for itself, but to navigate within its range between the force field and actually flash Nibiru in that circle of energy. There were those 4 Vulcan ships or Meldic ships, and they're the ones that crashed into the They will continue on with orbit outside. This was a very common visit here. So you fall from Mars had life, Jupiter had life, it's like the planets have life on here. Yeah. These ships went back to Earth, right? Eventually heard in the conflict that, of course, it was communication telepathically what was going on, but the commander of the fleet convinced them that everything was under control. They made their cycle and they would be caught within this solar system, moving in and out of it counterclockwise. And at their greatest scale was the asteroid belt that was created in between Mercury, Venus, Speeding up electrical cycle of the magnet is not something in the metal, it's something the metal can conduct magnetism to 0.19.5 angular penetrating speed of light. Would not be able to not penetrate, so it was caught in a magnetic field because the material of the ship set up a force field clock. And now these tremendous, massive ships that were set out to attack the area were caught in its sphere. Traveled along with it. Communication was trying to be set up from the Billington ships. But they told you it was an accident. But because it bounced off of it and damaged the bottom, and it was bad, it was a problem. As it moved on, past Saturn, they bumped into the planet of Saturn, Titan. That's the planet of Saturn called Titan. And caused a necklace to be formed around Saturn. A necklace. Those were the ring of Saturn is not a ring, it is a massive amount of small planets. This will be revealed. So I'm going to teach you right now. This is not. Titan started revolving, crashed, and smashed into many of the planets, destroyed the 7 moons of Saturn. The devil claimed this planet as his own Saturn. And then it went on. I'll keep on going. Don't you keep on right. Alright? And as it moved on, reached more planets, follow it now. It veered in towards your solar system. It was now had moved off of its own orbit, which was in 25,920 years, into now of the 3,600 year era. And it's moving. It's shifting in the direction, opposite direction. Caught in this is Christ printing outside here. This is the earth. Beginning. The earth is sometime after this is 100 and 2. Like this is 8,000 years. 70,000 years long. Here's Canaan. As they're spinning and moving, this planet, or this ship with the Vulcan, falls straight and hits the planet. Shattering. And as this is, as the building begins to pass, planet came back. The other, this is the north wind. I thought it's the third wind, the other, which is the west wind, or the east wind, is the sun, as this planet already been hit, in the middle of your solar system, moving counterclockwise, it causes so many disturbances in the sphere and this planet. Do some research. Then this begins to close. And it spin this planetarium right about here. Shattered pieces, moving in the opposite direction, counterclockwise. Then that begins to spin as the other wing hits, snap right into it, and penetrate what comes with it. You follow that? Again, we went on to 3,600-year cycle, came back through while this planet was wobbling in this. The light form on it was dying. It resulted in ice ages, landslides. The beings on this planet died. The elders launched out 4 angelic beings. So, the 4 angels of the 4 corners of the earth were holy beings. In the Bible. And they trapped planet key as they call the planet. Because of the geological, the geomorphological, geographic, all the sciences of the universe. A lot of times, before Earth you hear wrong, these are good ones. Right? They trapped it, and now they form a hole, they do it, and the sun is also referred to as key, no longer, and back to another name of the people. They started a classic way to the beginnings of you understand what happened. He set up this science to draw a triangle, you follow, with your heterohedron lines in the center. Planet is trapped right in here. The whole penetrate from here to there. Wouldn't we?
Yeah, we get you brother too.
Ship there, a ship there, and a ship there. Distance and distance. Like that. So this was long, right there. And that would be right there. Right there. Look at it. Place. Follow that? The Bible refers to the 4 angels and the 4 corners of the winds. You heard that before? Right? And now you're mathemizing over. Next year was when the planet, because it's wobbling and moving, is in direct direction with the sun, what will happen? Blow it up. So they let go and put a reflecting mirror from the ship, and the ship is sent upwards to crystal city. I don't realize when I want the much man. And it sits right over the opposite pole from where the tetrahedron sign pole is. So the opposite side. And it sits there. And then 3, 4 ships go back, further out, and the planet is safe. Now ready to be monitored. It's now ready for various life forms. We start transporting life forms here. Technical. Here do not have any intelligence, and it will not be able to sustain the planet. We have to learn scientists from the ozone will diffuse. The atmosphere will then go bad. The sun will get closer, but will now scatter up to orbit, not only scatter up to orbit. They set the planet up to provide transporting things here. The ships is what the third one found drag thing. The last ship, or what we call a west wing, these beings here were walking, got picked up by Helium and educated by them, informed, so they showed them screens of the flight and how it happened, how it was not done intentionally. You follow that? And these beings were transported here to Earth and were put in the seeds here on this beautiful planet.
Who is my mission? All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. Lo and lo, and Eliu, and Eliu El, the most highest of the highest ones. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. All I came to do is set this whole mess straight. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight. All I came to do is set the whole mess straight.